Hey everybody, welcome back to Nerding Out with Jake. This is episode 5 of working on a finished T-34 and I'm excited for this one because I'm going to be chipping this bad boy up. Anyways, let's start. The main thing about chipping this tank is I want to draw more emphasis to the crew hatches, the sides of the tank, and anything that was basically there for stuff to get knocked around on. I start by mixing Russian green with a lighter color, in this case is green-gray, and make this nice lighter chipping color, or what the paint would look like when it's been exposed or freshly exposed, and then apply that with the sponge. The trick is to create a nice subtle effect with the fresh color paint, going on the edges and taking my little tool here. All it is just basically a piece of pluck foam on a drill bit or a pin vise holder, actually. Not actually, again, I shouldn't keep saying that. And just going around the tank, adding a little emphasis here and there, and this will more or less create the edge highlight for this vehicle. Keep it light, just go back and forth. You can always add more paint, just don't overdo it. And nice light tapping motions, in this case the crew hatch, and then just go from there. I'll confess, this is the method I use more often than anything else. I enjoy using this. It does take longer than, say, the hairspray method or the chipping effects fluid, but I have more control. I can do different things. I can rotate the sponge, create different little nicks here and there, and I don't have to worry about reactivating layers of the paint over some sort of, medium. And now you can see it's all done. It's ready to go. It looks really stark. Trust me, just hang on. It'll look better when I start adding the metal color underneath. So once the sponge portion's done, I go back with a lightsaber of a brush, add some drying retard of the same mix I was just using, and go along with this massively tipped brush that's so thin. It looks ridiculous, but trust me, it works. And go back and make lines across the tank between the portions of the sponge hits, and build that effect up more and more as I go along. And this is a great exercise if you ever want to learn how to edge highlight anything. I've got bitter dreams and memories of trying to edge highlight Space Marines and different Games Workshop models, but using a brush like this is a game changer because it allows a lot more control. You can get in all these little tiny details, and it does a great job of bringing the details out on the tank. Again, yes, it looks a little stark at the moment, but once I start adding the different colors in, it really looks good. So bear with me, keep at it. We'll just work from here. Add some scratches here and there. You can always just add more if you feel like it's not enough, but take your time. The drying retardant does a great job of really allowing you to make the paint nice and thin. And here we go. I'm going to create the nice steel color underneath the chip areas. I don't like to use metallic paint, so I'm going to make my little homebrew mix of a chocolate chipping color and add a rubber black color to it. Again, adding drying retarder, taking my lightsaber brush, or this obnoxiously thin brush, and going and using the very side of my brush and getting the center portion of those lighter chipped areas. I don't go over every area that's been chipped because you want a little bit of variation, because not every area will have the exposed metal beneath it. But it really brings down the effect so it's not so glaringly bright. And you'll see it as I go on. And you just go from there and just take your time, use the very side of the brush or very tip of the brush, and just enjoy the process. It does take a little bit of time to go through, but I think it looks a lot better than if I was going to use a chipping effects fluid. Chipping effects fluid has its place. I just don't like to use chipping for it. I like to use it for whitewashing or, say a faded camouflage pattern, or the one that needs to be reapplied. But to merely make the the worn look of a tank, I prefer to use a chipping method with the brush and the sponge. That's just me, though. Everyone's different. And there we go. We have the metallic paint, or my version of the metallic paint in there. And now it's time to go back in there with the dark sea gray and my other color and start working on making the exhausts. Now, the exhausts, a lot of people paint them in the silver color too, or darker silver color. I like to use these off brownish gray colors to really bring in that heated look. So you'll see I'll go into the darker gray color, come back into the lighter color and tap it, And then I'll even take my brown chocolate chipping color, my metallic color, and put that in there too. And you'll see what happens after I add a rust wash color. It really pops it, brings it to life. It's a lot of fun to do. And before I get out the rust color wash, I will now go around and maybe just touch up or paint the different portions of the tank that I know need to be different color. So I get my steel color look, or in this case, I'm making it more of a plastic color with the light there, because a lot of them actually were plastic. And I go back and make that nice base coated, and I also get the gun itself, the bow gun. And so now here is the fun part: getting the rust effects, the streaking effects, and putting that on my chips, letting it dry, coming back and blending it, and that makes a wonderful transition, and it blends it all together. Hang on, hang with me. It makes a lot more sense once you see it all start coming together. The trick at this point is to correctly blend the rust color. You don't want to have too much there, but you want to have a little emphasis of where that red coloration is going to go between the chipping color, the metal color, and the chipped paint color. It'll really blend itself in there nicely, so it's not so glaring anymore. If you recall, when I first only had the chipping color on there, it looked obnoxious. I mean, everything was like outlined in white. It got better as I added the steel color in there, and it gets even better once I correctly blend that rust streaking effect over the chips. Not every chip will have a rust tone to it, but if any exposed steel's out there in the field, it's gonna rust relatively fast. And now I take the exact same rust color wash here and apply it to the exhaust. And as you'll see, as that color dries, it has the wonderful look of an actual exhaust pipe. And there we go. We are all done with this episode. Thanks again for watching. It's been a great little series I'm running here. I had a lot of fun, especially this portion of the tanks. I love chipping and making things look a little bit worn out. If you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel, hit a like on there too, and join me for next week's final episode of the series where I add mud effects and wrap it up. Thanks, guys, and have a great one.